Alright, sliding in on all of y'all. What's good, everybody? Now, after what happened last season, in season 3 of The Boys, a couple of interesting things have happened. Now, let's get into it. Let's get it cracking. See Billy Butcher and Ryan starting to bond together. They're starting to really chill like father and son like that. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, Huey is busy trying to do things the more correct way. What he thinks is the more correct way with the chick I told you about last season. Now, after all that, they're trying to stop, bad guy, corrupt heroes, but in their own way, and it's not as violent as it once was, or at least not as aggressively violent anyway. Like how they have to actually make sure that the heroes don't get too messed up, otherwise they may have to trade in for a bunch of B and C listers in order to make for stuff to make sure that knockoff Ant-Man could be able to talk, for example, And meanwhile, while they're all just chilling, having a good time, Huey and Star's relationship got public. Before it was a private thing for obvious reasons, but now that they're up right now, Huey and Starlight have a nice little public relationship. It's out there. So after all that, and after the fact that Stormfront got exposed for the Yahtzee that she is, and they had to do a couple of reshoots of that movie, Homelander is down tremendous right now because, simply put, his public image is in the toilet. I mean, after all, he shacked up with a Yahtzee. There's no way to make that sound good. So he's kind of got hit to his reputation. So, yeah. Now, meanwhile, Queen Maeve and Billy are finding ways to see how they could kill and defeat Homelander, and they might have found it. See, they decided to use this thing called that they recently made called Temp V. Basically, it's like Compound V, but instead, it only gives you superpowers for 24 hours. So, with this stuff now in his hands, Billy Butcher was conflicted because on one hand, it would be a great advantage, but on the other hand, he didn't know if he wanted to be a soup, if only temporarily. But to him in their action, one of those two things was the fact that, well, it would make his job easier fighting people and killing corrupt soups, and the other, well, it turns out that Huey found out the secret about the chick he was working with in last season, the head popper. So with those two reasons, he was able to take the Temp V and get the temporary powers. Now, like Compound V, it's different for each person. There's no consistency on the powers they give you, not even with the Temp V. So, ironically, Billy Butcher ended up getting the same, or at least very similar powers, to what Homelander get, which is basically being knockoff Superman. Super fast, super strong, being able to shoot laser beams from your eyes. I think the only power he didn't outright inherit is flying, but that's about it. But after that, besides from that, and he used it to, kill one of the members of Payback. Now, Payback is an old school style superhero team from World War I or II, or the Vietnam War, basically a very long time ago, right? So, basically this is their version of a DC or Marvel old school style team from back in those days, their version of a knockoff Wonder Woman or a knockoff Captain America, Probably because we'll talk about him in a bit. Well, I guess, yeah. So after all of that happened, Billy Butcher's boys rolled out into Russia to, be able to get the thing that was able to kill Homelander. But as it turns out, it's not a something, it's a someone. And the someone name is Soldier Boy. Now, Soldier Boy is, well, the knockoff Captain America. And he is a pretty, I would say a more realistic but darker version of Captain America, The man placed from out of time. Well, what if he actually had some of the more toxic and bad elements of being placed at a time that people don't really want to talk about when talking about the past, Having some outdated views. Now, I don't know if he's outright racist or anything like that, but, he's still a piece of human garbage, But, and appropriately, his team, Payback, because, well, he was basically Homelander before Homelander, Homelander was the new him, So, Payback wanted to get back on him, and they were able to successfully. So yeah, they pretty much rescued this trash man, and they have to make a deal with him to help in order to get revenge on Payback and kill all of the previous members of Payback in order to help him take down Homelander. And that doesn't go over well with everybody because, well, Mother's Milk family was a victim of Soldier Boy, and that caused him to, well, not want to do that. So Billy Butcher roofied him, and now him and Huey are going out solo dolo with Soldier Boy taking out members of Payback in order to get to Homelander eventually. And that pretty much creates a split of, well, those three I just talked about along with pretty much everybody else. See, a thing that Compound V and, Temp V reveals is that just like power, it doesn't corrupt, it reveals, you see. And it reveals that Billy Butcher, it further enhances his douchiness, but, or at least makes him be a bit more bold with his of his hero hatred. And with Huey, it reveals the fact that he truly didn't want to be saved by Starlight, everybody. He let it be known on the first date a while back that he didn't mind how strong and powerful Starlight is, but deep down it did. He was insecure about it. He's sick of Starlight always saving him. She wants to reverse that. He wants to be able to save her for once. He doesn't want to be a victim. He doesn't want to be the guy stuck down and glued and taped down to a chair waiting for Starlight to rescue him. He doesn't want to be a liability like that. In moments of insecurity and weakness, he takes the Temp V in order to bring himself more appropriately to Starlight's level, and it shows that he was weak mentally. He couldn't handle the fact that Starlight was the strong one, and he was being insecure about it. So throughout the season, they not only kill various members of Payback, but now there's kind of this civil war between the members of the boys about what best to do about this. So after they fight, we get ourselves ready for this. After all that, it gets revealed that Soldier Boy is, well, Homelander's biological father. See, Homelander was made in a test tube. He didn't have an actual mother and father. Well, biologically, yes, but in actuality, in raising skills, no. He grew up in a lab, But biologically, Soldier Boy is the father of Homelander, and that makes him Ryan's grandfather. So, Soldier Boy was conflicted on it, but after seeing Homelander and seeing him talk, and a couple times, he realizes that he's a disappointment, and they gotta go. But what he messed up in is the fact that he also does not mess with Ryan either. So Billy Butcher and Homelander have to put the differences aside to take down Soldier Boy in order to make sure he doesn't kill Ryan, And they fight. And then after that, Queen Maeve seemingly sacrifices herself in order to take down Soldier Boy. Now, throughout the season, Soldier Boy, because of being years and decades experimented by the Russians, he was able to gain a power that he didn't have before. And that's this big explosion that not only hurts because, well, it's an explosion, but it also fries the V right out of your system. It depowers you. And So Queen Maeve had to tackle him out of a building to make sure that the day was saved, and that's where we are. But of course, and if you overuse the temp V, then you have a chance of dying, and it liquefies your brain. And of course, Huey eventually stopped before it was too late. But for Billy, he used it one too many times, and now he's not looking good. He's probably gonna die soon. But that's besides the point. Meanwhile, throughout the season earlier, some less serious stuff but still notable stuff has happened. Earlier, Starlight was trying to threaten and blackmail Homelander into backing off, but then Homelander called the bluff. He's like, "Fine, release the video. I'll crash out." And now Queen Maeve and Starlight has been using gaining less and less control, to the point where while they were trying to replace a member of the Seven, they got replaced with the Deep, and he came back, and yeah, and throughout the season, A-Train's Black A has to deal with the fact that he can't run anymore, otherwise he'll risk having a heart attack. So instead of running, he decided to double down on his blackness, sell the fact that he's black to the Seven and to the media. And then his family was like, "Alright, you want to be a black activist so much? Alright, bet. Go deal with the super racist." And he tries to find diplomatic ways to deal with the super racist, but it ended up backfiring on him, to the point where his own brother got paralyzed. So he decided to get his get back and kill that guy. But since he ran super fast in order to do it, his heart gave out and he had a heart attack. Luckily, he was saved, and even more luckily, because he got a soup's heart, the dead racist soup's heart, he can run again. And also, meanwhile, with all this happening, Billy Butcher and Ryan were also not having a good terms. That relationship that I mentioned at the beginning of the video was starting to break down, to the point where at the end, a role reversal happened. Ryan chooses Homelander over Billy because Billy messed up that badly, And that's besides the point. That was just really messed up, That's just how it really was. So with all those people, we also got Black Noir. Apparently, Black Noir was like an OG. He was a member of Payback back in the day. And apparently he was another black guy. Black Noir was black. So and let's just say it's very different from the comics for a very particular reason. But besides the point, and of course, he realized the truth about Soldier. He knew the truth about Soldier Boy the entire time, and Homelander found out, and Black Noir got killed for it. And apparently, Homelander and Black Noir were really good friends, really good allies. So it broke him when he had to kill him. So Homelander started tweaking out more and more and more. And that's just how he started to become. He tweaked out to the point where some random Starlight supporter threw an empty can at Ryan, and he killed him publicly in front of the live TV, and the crowd of Homelander supporters cheered him on. So now Homelander is starting to become a bit more masked off. He's starting to tweak out. Things are looking real bad. And finally, that head papa lady we were talking about earlier, well, as it turns out, she was able to make that coup happen that we talked about last time, and now she's becoming vice president. She's going to get even more power. So the boys realize that this chick has to go now. Low tier god now. You know what I mean? So that's just how it has to be. But besides the point, that that's basically where we're at throughout, pretty much all of season 3. I simplified, skipped a couple important but also important details at the same time, and I think I pretty much got everything that's probably gonna matter, or at least everything that's like plot relevant, or at least most of it. And now for the final video, I'm gonna show you guys that Gen V spinoff, and then along with other videos I may be planning on making when season 4 fully comes out, we'll be able to watch it. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.